This is Let's Talk Business with your host, Marc Ebinger. Now, here's Mark.
Welcome back to the Let's Talk Business podcast. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk about leveraging ProVisors for business networking. In studio with us today is Bradley Stroud, the owner of Stroudlink. With over 2 decades of experience in the PEO industry, Bradley helps businesses streamline operations, cut costs, and manage their HR challenges, in addition to being a fantastic networker. Bradley, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mark. It's great to be here. I'm a long-time listener, but a first-time host.
Okay.
So
great,
it's awesome
great
to be here.
response. I love that. Well stolen. Said. All right. Also in studio with us today is Mike Kotloski, a consulting partner with ERA Group, a company that helps organizations optimize operational overhead costs and find innovative solutions to meet their financial goals. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mark. I'm a longtime fan of the newest thief in the room, Bradley Stroud.
Love that. And what else did you want to say,
That was
Mike?
too good.
Love it.
I can't say anything after that.
I
It's an
love it.
inside joke. They'll have to catch up on that later
See,
on.
that's what you got to watch the pre-show, I guess, if you want to catch
Yeah,
the inside jokes. All right, I'm your host, Marc Ebinger, the owner of Krukus Virtual Staffing, a company that recruits and staffs experienced overseas administrative assistants for insurance agents and attorneys. If you're curious about the most common tasks that virtual assistants are doing for businesses, head over to our website at krukus.com and grab a list of the top 20 tasks that VAs are doing for businesses like yours. Link is in the podcast description.
Hey, my name is Keaton Frieberg. I'm an attorney, partner at Texas Suits Law Firm, where we work with business and real estate owners to handle their real estate or their litigation and transactional needs.
Love it. So a quick reminder to follow the Let's Talk Business podcast on all major podcast platforms and social media, where you can catch video versions of the show. You can get to everything easily from our website at satalkradio.com. So we're really here to talk about, all of us are members of ProVisors, which has been around since the 90s, if I remember right. Over 10,000 members nationwide. It's a great networking opportunity for professional advisor type, folks, people that are, professionals. So Bradley, let's start with you. Tell me a little bit about kind of what you're doing in your day-to-day work, and then what led you to ProVisors.
Okay. Well, as you mentioned earlier, I have a brokerage firm for PEOs, so I'm dealing with business owners on a daily basis every day, all across the United States and even internationally, helping business find the right PEO for what they need. And networking is a huge part of what I do. And, for years, probably for the first 20 years of my business, I was involved in every kind of networking event you could possibly think of. And most of them were kind of duds, and sometimes you get into a lot of these networking. It's actually the same group that just goes to one event to the other. 80% of them are all the same people. And I was a part of a lot of different organizations. And I had gotten out of it for a while, and I could see that affected my business when I just basically became an island unto myself. And I knew that the thing that I had been doing that I wasn't doing anymore was networking. So I selectively got back into networking and was introduced to one organization and then ultimately introduced to ProVisors. And I was pleasantly surprised the uniqueness of the approach of ProVisors, the quality of people that are involved in ProVisors. These are people that are genuine business owners and business leaders that genuinely want to work together and easy to work with. And I've benefited. I've had my brokerage firm for a little over 20 years now, but I just started a second business with my one of my sons in the plumbing industry, of all things. Has nothing to do with what I do with the other business, but my son wanted me to help him get started in that. And so I needed a lot of advice and insights. And so I actually have an attorney from ProVisors. That's my attorney for the plumbing company. I have a bookkeeper from ProVisors, and they're doing amazing jobs. I had another banker that helped me get funding for the company, and I have another gentleman that I had some documents for my brokerage firm that I needed modified. That's an IT expert, and all of them came from ProVisors. And so that in of itself has more than paid for with the investment that I made. And so I've been extremely happy with ProVisors and looking forward to another year of membership and getting involved with these folks.
Now, one of the things that ProVisors are looking for in their members is a network, right? It's not just coming and taking from the ProVisors network, but it's bringing your network to ProVisors.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on that approach? And then, as far as people wanting to join ProVisors, not all of them are qualified. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts there?
People are always trying to find out where to maximize their time and be involved with people. It's very frustrating for people that are networking and they spend a lot of time networking. And when they look at it, they have to be honest with themselves where they're going to network. Who are they networking with? Am I really maximizing my time and efforts? Is it a good investment? Am I seeing an ROI on it? And ProVisors meets those question marks with a plus, because you've got quality people that are eager to work together. In fact, they expect you to spend time with each other and get to know each other. Where we have our Treokas, where you meet with 3 people together, you have lunches together or breakfast or whatever works for your time frames. Then you do your one-on-ones, and everybody's eager to help each other out. It's just not sucking the air out of the room. You're literally going and giving and helping each other, and it's fun to be able to work with people like that you want to help them. You want to help them find other opportunities. And given the nature of what I do, I deal with business owners all the time that are always asking for, can you help me, since you're helping with payroll and benefits and HR, can you help me with an IT person? Can you help me with a banker? Can you help me with an attorney? And it's fun to be able to say, yeah, I've got quality people in our group that can help you in those areas and be able to do that. So there's definitely, it's a productive time of investing that you can do in that kind of a group.
Yeah, I like the fact that ProVisors enables you to be a hub for your clients. So, like you have mentioned, whatever they need, they can always go through you, and you can help them, and then you're helping your network of these other individuals that are in ProVisors with us. I love that.
Absolutely.
And Brad makes a really good point too. I mean, we all talk about networking for business and trying to build our businesses, but that's the beauty of ProVisors, is there's such a wealth of experience and expertise, and you can find people to help yourself out personally. Like you said,
Yeah, because isn't that one of the qualities or qualifications is you got to have so many years of experience in your industry before you even become part of ProVisors?
Yeah.
So these are not people that have no clue what they're doing or just being trained in what they're doing. They have background experience and a level of success, and that, to your point, that's priceless.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a fraternity as well. I say it's sort of like a cult, but that's kind of got negative connotations. But we're going to go with the fraternity. So you, just by being in ProVisors, you already have sort of a baseline level of trust with anybody else in ProVisors. And I'm going to say a good 95% of the people I've met in ProVisors live up to that. They're just like any network. There's a few people that just joined and are kind of going through the motion, but most are not that way. So, you get on a call with them, I get on some of these affinity group calls, which we can get into a little bit. And people are really, really interested in learning more about you, talking with you, and helping. I mean, that's kind of, and Bradley kind of mentioned it. It's very much a giving mentality. You come to ProVisors wanting to give, and hopefully somebody else is going to do the same. So eventually it's going to come around and you'll receive it. But yeah, it's I think you got the right crew for pumping up ProVisors here.
Well, to your point, I was talking with someone at our Christmas party the other night, and he had been involved since, I think, 2014, and over 10 years. And he says, there's no way I'm leaving this group. He talked about what it's done for him over the years, and if you're willing to spend that investment and that much time over those years, usually, I've been part of groups. I can name 4 or 5 now that I was involved for a year, maybe 2 years, and I'd pretty well maxed it out, and I was moving on to something else. But
when you say maxed out, what do you mean by that?
that you've done, you're pretty much got out of what you're going to get out of it.
Okay.
You know,
The circle's not expanding.
not at all. It's not expanding. It's very superficial, if you will, shallow, if you will, as far as the investment in it. And so with this, there's a lot of rich knowledge, and the people are just down to earth. I mean, that's also refreshing. We've got people that are just easy to talk to, and they
you enjoy going to meetings,
yeah,
right?
You look forward to it, and it's not a dread. Like,
Yep.
oh man, I got to deal with these guys for the next hour. It's not. It's really a comfortable environment that you enjoy and you're looking forward to, and you know you're going to benefit from it once you leave.
And another good point there with one of the beauties with ProVisors is you get in a lot of networking groups and you kind of max out quickly. I mean, it's going to be the same people over and over. You know who can help you, who can't, you know, who you're going to go have a beer with, who's never, ever going to be able to give you any referral. But when I'd mentioned the affinity group, so that's, again, the beauty of ProVisors is you have to have a home group, which is going to be, you know, roughly the same 20, 25 people, although we do allow guests, and a lot of folks from Austin tend to come down. So you're always going to meet at least one or two new people at every meeting. But if you want to expand your network and get into the 10,000 members that Mark, you know, talked about, you have access. And one of the ways to access them are through affinity groups. And what those are special interest groups. So I'm part of a nonprofit affinity group. I'm also part of the healthcare advisors. I've actually been sitting in on a lot of the merger and acquisition groups. A lot of the affinity groups and ProVisors are California based, since that's where ProVisors started, but they're expanding. But, you know, Chicago, DFW, I know has some. We're starting some in Austin. So what that does is that gives you access to 20, 30, I think there was 45 on one of the calls I did last week. And so it's an hour and a half. You know, most of them are virtual, which is great because you spend an hour and a half of your time and you're going to meet 40 new people. You're going to have breakout sessions in there. They're almost always, unless they have these mega ones, they're going to give you the chance to introduce yourself. And then, you know, you get breakout rooms where you'll meet 2 or 3 people. Then they'll set up a troika, which, you know, we've kind of talked about. So that's one of the beautiful things about ProVisors is they kind of push, you know, 1-on-2 or 1-on-3 meetings outside of your normal meetings, so you get to know people better. So that's a huge way to expand your network. I've also started to take a look, especially, you know, DFW and Houston areas, looking to see who's holding a virtual meeting. Because most ProVisors home group meetings are in person, but they are required by the company, for lack of better terms, to do a couple virtual ones, which allows other people to guest. So I've done New York City. I think I did a Bellevue, Washington one, which, you know, it just worked out. And the nice thing about a lot of the West Coast ones is they start at the ProVisors damn 7 o'clock in the morning, which is 9 here. So that's a huge way to expand your group because, like I said, you know, your home group people are kind of your home friends. You know who's who for the most part. But man, if you get an opportunity to meet another 30, 40 like-minded folks, it's just huge.
Every week, I mean, you can legit. And I think I remember you telling me this before, Mike, is that you could legit just visit a home group every week for the whole year and still not hit them all. So there's plenty of opportunity to expand and get your brand and your business out in front of other folks. But tell me a little bit about your background, Mike, and how you ended up in ProVisors.
Okay, so historically, I'm a software sales person. I started this consulting business. It's a franchise a little over a year ago. When I got into it, I knew from people I talked to within the organization that networking is the main way to gain business in that world. In fact, one of our franchisees did a study in 2023 and found out over 70% of new business in the Aero Group came from referrals or networking. So cold marketing, email, that stuff just doesn't work here. So with that in mind, I moved to Texas about 3.5 years ago, and my past life didn't have a great network that I could carry on into this life. So I knew really early on that I needed to network, and then I learned very quickly that living in San Antonio, you really need to network. So probably about October of last year is when kind of the light came on, and I pretty much do almost 100% kind of networking in terms of marketing, if you will. So I won't like cold call or email or even LinkedIn request somebody unless I've got somebody to give me an introduction. So with that in mind, like all of us, I joined a couple other networking groups. One I was in for a year, did not get one single business referral, not one meeting out of that. It did help me to learn how to network and look for referral partners, but there was zero ROI. ProVisors, I got a meeting with the CEO and CFO within 6 months. So it's like Bradley had said, it's just a really good group of people who know a lot of people and are looking to help. So yeah, I know who you're talking about, who's been in for 10 plus years. When you get into some of these affinity groups, you're talking to people who've been in for years in our different walks of life. And what they'll tell you is it typically takes about a year once you get in to really start benefiting. Because as I mentioned, you have a level of trust, but I don't know that level of trust coming in is enough to get you a business referral. So much like a lot of these, you have to be repetitious, help, show, give, make these people know who you are. But since our group started in, I think, February of this year, we're not even a year in. So people will tell you it will take a good year to 18 months, especially for a new group, to really kick off, which is part of the reason I've been spending time in Austin a little bit more.
Well, this dovetails really good into LinkedIn as well, because a lot of folks in ProVisors are using LinkedIn as a primary social media. So what's your guys' experience there? Are you guys active on LinkedIn? Are you leveraging it in the ProVisors community?
Go ahead.
I'm actually very active on LinkedIn. And quite honestly, that's the quickest way to build your LinkedIn network is if you go on an affinity call. I'll usually connect with 5 or 10 people a lot of times before the meeting's over. And you'll also find the flip side of people, once they've heard kind of your elevator pitch or see what you are or see where you are, they'll actually reach out. So I think I was on a call, last Monday. I think I have 2 meetings and like 6 new LinkedIn connections. So it's huge. I tend to use it more for networking than actual kind of marketing. I've found that if I try to kind of pitch or sell, it doesn't go very well a lot of times. So I'm really just trying to get information out, interact with people. I've also found that's one really good way of kind of keeping you in the forefront of their minds.
Yeah, top of mind.
Think about it, because that's one of the things about networking is you got to know the people. They have to know you, but are they, am I thinking about you every day of the week? Sorry, man.
Hope so.
Maybe now moving forward. But Bradley, a different story, because I'm afraid he's going to steal something from me.
He's already done it once today.
Are you using LinkedIn at all, Bradley?
Heavily. I have a marketing director for my brokerage side for the Stroudlink side, and we just started with the plumbing side as well. But we've used LinkedIn for everything. We even hired another marketing company to do all the data mining. I don't know all the technical stuff that they do with the emailing algorithms and all that stuff that they try to tell me, explain it to me. I go, just do it. Yeah, we use it a lot. But the one thing when Mark was talking about the infinity groups, the other thing is you get to guest with each of these. If you're traveling in a certain area, you can go and be in person in those events. And I took somebody up on the invite and I had a meeting in Houston and did a guesting at the Houston ProVisor. And dude, it was a whole nother level. The meeting was at 7 o'clock in the morning. I had no idea where I was going. It was downtown. I think it was the Bank of America building. And you had to get this security clearance to get on the elevator, and you can only go to this certain level. And it's like on the 35th floor. And we had a view of the entire city. And I said, man, San Antonio, we got to pick up our pace here because it was awesome.
Yeah, we should do it up on the 14th floor of this.
Yeah,
building.
yeah,
That
exactly.
would be sweet.
It was really nice, but I thought, man, this is cool. You never know what you're going to walk into when you do these types of things, especially meeting these folks in person. And I didn't know how they would respond to me. They're from Houston. I'm from San Antonio. And, man, they were like, well, how can we help you? And I'm like, really? And they were just really interested in what I was doing, and I thought I was just going to be kind of a guy sitting in the corner observing. And they made me engaged and helped me to get engaged in the conversations and the meetings. So it was really cool because San Antonio is a whole different ball game. You know, in Houston and in Dallas and Austin, I always tell my business associates, you do business and you may make a relationship. In San Antonio, you make relationships and you may do business.
Yeah, that's a real good point.
It's a much longer process. It's a much difficult process, but it's a blue-collar town. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody's a family of somebody. I mean, my wife is Hispanic, and she's got more cousins and aunts and uncles. I mean, and everybody knows everybody. And so it's a whole different ballgame. That's why networking, it's priceless in this type of business environment.
Hey, Brad, when you guested, did you feel like people actually actively sought you out? And really, it's like, you know, fresh meat in the room, but not in a negative sense. They seem to know that you're not one of them. And
Excited to meet and greet,
really,
and help if they can.
Agreed. Yeah.
That's definitely the vibe that I get too. You know, so piggybacking on the virtual as well as the in-person, when we get a list, right, of everybody that's on a particular meeting, which I love that. Part of my workflow is it goes over to my team to make sure that we get connected to them on LinkedIn. Everybody gets in LinkedIn, right? And then Instagram and Facebook, all of those. We're looking to connect with them because, again, I'm producing so much content, I want to stay top of mind with them.
That's a great idea. That when you get these lists, because I'll be honest, when I get those lists, I kind of ignore them. No, I should be getting them to my marketing director and have her put them on connect with everybody on LinkedIn.
Not only that, but the part of the flow too is an email will go out saying, "Hey, so and so, I enjoyed getting to know you or connecting with you, whatever." So yeah, we've got a whole flow because those are potential opportunities for them to say, "Oh yeah, you know what? Hey, I wanted to meet with you to talk about whatever," right? So it could be the podcast, could be the whatever.
I love that, especially because you meet so many people when you're there. So that just now you stood out. You know, they're gonna remember you.
Yeah,
I like the going to a in-person event somewhere. I feel like that's a write-off too. You know, if I'm gonna go to
if you're gonna go in an Aston Martin,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? Just go to the right.
I'm gonna write it off.
Write it off.
Make
It's
any
a
vacation a work
business
trip.
Business.
Are you going up to Austin for the big meeting? So, yeah, you two are. Yeah,
On Thursday.
We're gonna carpool.
Yeah.
Apparently in a pickup truck.
Not
or
an
something.
Aston
I don't know.
Martin. Yeah, but that's another podcast.
Thanks for the invite because I have no idea what you guys are even talking about.
So there's
Really, you didn't get the the ProVisors.
there's
meeting,
7
the big
groups
group?
in Austin. I think this is just a joint, like all 7 Austin
really?
groups. So there's going to be probably 200 people.
Yeah,
there.
I spoke with a somebody from did like a virtual one-to-one with a banker from who lives in Austin. He says people are coming from Houston, Dallas, all over. It's going to be huge.
Kidding.
Well, that's-
it's the
I mean,
evening.
Morning.
Yeah, 7 a.m.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Yeah.
I did one of those in early November. There was a joint group of, I think, Austin 4 and 6. So it was 7. So, yep, I was on the road at 5:30. But there were 38 people I hadn't met before.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like I
Okay.
told
I'm
Mark,
going to plan to do this. I'd like to do it once a month, but for sure once a quarter where I'll go up to Austin and just visit the groups and
Yeah.
knock those
you
out.
got to get
Houston
on
as well.
like the happy hours or the joint meetings where you get multiple groups because that's really where you're getting the bang for your buck because you're meeting a ton of people and
You doing breakout rooms? Is that kind of how they?
those weren't actually. So
Okay.
so it was the one with the 38. The joint meeting was basically just a typical ProVisors meeting. You go around, do your pitch. John Spencer, who you met, kind of led it. He actually had an interesting thing. He talked about or asked everyone to give their take on electric vehicles. Do you own one and why? So it was pretty interesting. I think you would like that because there are a lot of motorheads in that room. There's people who have stables of vehicles
Okay.
up there. But it I mean, it's a good kind of icebreaker.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, so that one it wasn't. But I'd be curious to see, get your feedback from this big event that's going on, because, that's a lot of people to go around and give, your 2-minute overview.
Well, and I heard they're bringing a guest speaker too to come in and.
How long are you planning on staying? Because I mean, I don't have anything else. I don't think for the day. I'm not sure for the whole day or whatever. But it's like I'm not in a hurry to leave necessarily. Do you have to get out?
I was planning. I thought it was like 2 hours, and then I was planning on hanging around for an hour or two after, and then coming back.
That's the way to do it, because it's like all the really good stuff happens
after
the meeting
yep.
anyway. All right, well, we got to wrap up, but Bradley, if folks want to get in touch with you, how do they do it?
They can call me directly. I'll give you my direct numbers, 210-887-2148, or my email is Bradley, Bradley, at Stroudlink.com.
All right, thank you.
Me, you can call at 412-498-8883. For those of you who don't know, that's a Pittsburgh area code. Email is mkotloski@eragroup.com.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. All right. Thanks, everybody. Well, what'd you guys think of the ProVisors chat?
This is life-changing. I'm never going to forget this. It's amazing.
That's pretty profound. Mike, what's your follow-up? Can you beat that?
Yet again, Bradley has rendered me speechless.
Well, that's what you were going to say.
Yes,
that's the problem.
Yeah, from his mouth to God's ear. Right?
I mean, seriously, we could go on for hours.
Yeah, we could.
Easy.
All right, but I do these once a month. I'm going to have people in from ProVisors so we can have a chat and really get the word out and promote it, at least all over the nation, I guess. All right, a quick reminder to follow the Let's Talk Business podcast on all major podcast platforms. You can get to everything easily by visiting satalkradio.com. That's going to be it for this week. You guys have a great one, and go search ProVisors.com and learn about what you're missing. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.